All right, Michael Marckx, how's it going? I know there's like a lot going on right now on the Belgian waffle side with the elephant in the room, which is this out of seemingly nowhere, this COVID-19. So, most people are informed about what is going on out there, and obviously it's having a ripple effect through the events. But let's maybe like rewind a little bit and go to where like when did you first start hearing about this? Potential virus, where it was maybe on the news, or like when did this kind of first come to you?
Well, the I think we were all sort of exposed to it slowly. Our government knew about it many months ago and didn't respond accordingly, didn't let us know, tried to keep us in the dark. And then as with anything, the truth starts to find its way, particularly with the growth of the numbers of people affected by it. So I'm sure everyone experienced this. It's like, oh, this is kind of heavy. To we're no longer working at the office. We're working remotely, and then now everything's shut down, or at least restaurants, bars, events, congregating, that kind of stuff. But what's probably next is a forced shutdown of everything, which means factories, and a lot of people won't be working for a while. So we were exposed to all this information and tried to be optimistic, and we let everyone know not that long ago. I guess it was like less than a week ago. We shared with everyone that, hey, look, we're monitoring this, and we have another date that we've lined up for the Belgian Waffle Ride here in San Diego. And if we have to, we'll move it to that date. So we'll postpone the event. That was Friday. Things got worse and worse and worse. So by Monday, we were conversing what it is that we would do and organized everything with all the various parties, all the stakeholders. And then I guess I announced it probably yesterday that we were officially moving or postponing the event to November 8th. But yeah, all of that happened rather quickly.
So when that first started like coming about, we kind of all heard about it, seeing what's going on. When you first started thinking of that potential date change, was that from more of like a, hey, this could get worse, or by that point was like the county getting involved yet, saying like, hey, this might happen, you guys might want to look at this, or like kind of what was like the initial spark to go, okay, we might have to get like a plan B in motion for like later on the year?
Well, I know I conferred with a lot of different institutions, agencies, other race directors, people that I respect. So I got input from a variety of purviews on it. Of course, there were a few that were like, "No, hold out. Do just wait it out, and you'll be fine in May." And that positioning became less and less tenable as each day went on. We've been conferring with the county, with multiple race directors, with USA Cycling, even USA Triathlon, USA Road Running. These are all institutions that we've been conferring with to help inform our decision. And of course, the other important stakeholders in the Lost Abbey are other sponsors, even the pro riders. So the general conclusion was, hey, we need to, rather than wait and make it difficult for people to change plans so close to the event, let's give them as much runway as possible to affect what it is that they're doing. So we've moved it to November, and everyone that's signed up for the May event gets transferred into that, or they can choose to transfer into Asheville or Cedar City, or even the BWR next year. So we've given them a lot of outs. We've also are giving people the option of transferring to friends, and we're doing our best to keep everything, all communication lines open, and we're dealing with cases one by one by one.
So speaking on like that new date, the November 8th, obviously like, you know, we can disregard, like hopefully everything is blown over by then and, you know, everything's great. Is there anything significant about that date in mind as far as like, you know, what, when you looked at the calendar, you know, like is anything that like popped up that you wanted to keep it on that date?
Well, so many events are pushing to the fall, so that then again, we have to confer with the other race directors and where it is that they want to put their event. So it became a new reconsideration for everybody as to what weekend should we put it on. There really weren't very many weekends, and that first weekend in November seemed to work out well. We have to hope that it doesn't rain, because much of the course goes through the San Diego River Park system, and if it rains, we won't be able to go through there. We did get permission from the county and from San Diego River Park to take over the entire park for the May event, which is, it's a way safer environment for all the riders and for any pedestrians that happen to find themselves on the course. So that was a super neat consideration that they gave us this year, that also allowed us to increase the number of riders. So we had, 3,500 riders slated to go through there. And hopefully we'll be able to do that in November. But if it rains, then I have to come up with a plan B on the course, and that'll be a very daunting task.
Have you started looking at that or even thinking about that if you have to maybe come to that case to
I'm
get a new one?
I'm always fantasizing of what a new course could look like. But this new one that I drafted for this year, I'm really happy with. So I'm hoping that we get to run with that one. It's slightly different than last year. It's harder, it's longer, significantly more dirt. But a plan B that doesn't involve going through San Diego River Park, or at least not most of it, is way less sexy. And then it forces me to look at alternative places to go entirely. And I've been through years where I've submitted 19 different courses to the county before they approved one. So that can be a challenging prospect.
How has the county and the city or whomever like been with this whole, COVID-19 thing, with dealing with you guys, with you being an event and stuff?
I would just say this in general about most people, riders, sponsors, loosely or strongly engaged, they've been really supportive, right? Because they know it's outside of our control, that we're doing things faster than other events, that we've been more communicative about it, and people have been generally supportive. But then, every now and again, you get just the most disgruntled person who seems to think that it's your fault this virus is happening, and that you've chosen to do this to them, and they're the victim, and you're just a bad person. So, dealing with them has been probably the worst of it. The county's been like, yeah, whatever, sure, you can move to November. To them, it's just like pushing a paper around. There hasn't been any tumult there. So quick to make the changes. We solidified our dates, whereas I think other people that put on events in the area, they're going to struggle, because the proactive race directors have already unfurled their flag on these new dates, and they're going to be left without a good weekend to do something.
So in that regards, how is it all coming together on the back end, as far as, let's say it was the May event, is everything coming together pretty solid? Like now that you obviously have more time to, if there's anything like, being hung up or anything, like there's, behind the scenes with the BWR, is it going smoothly?
Yeah, I mean, you just have to look at it like we've already paid for so much of it to happen. We're already out all the costs um, of of paying personnel, of paying for permits, things like T-shirts, and uh, there's all sorts of associated costs that have already been sunken into this. That part's a little bit challenging, but for the most part, it'll translate to November, and whatever course we get to do, I think it'll be basically a spring classic in the fall. So it'll be a fall classic, and let's hope that it doesn't rain, so it doesn't alter the course too much. And I know a lot of the racers that were planning on doing quite well in May will adjust their schedules and their training and when they peak, so that at least for 2020 um, they'll have the end of the year to peak for, which will be interesting.
No, it's definitely, I've already seen people like, kind of chime in about, changing their training plans and, whatnot to be, solid come November. So how are the other events going? I think last time we talked was kind of when we announced, you guys announced that you guys are doing the other two events. How are those coming along? Are those kind of been put on, I don't want to say hold, but like on the back burner with everything dealing with this COVID-19? But, with the buildup of those, how's that been going?
They're good. We don't stop planning on those. Those continue. We're optimistic that by the end of August, everything will be sorted for the first one, which was in Asheville. So we keep plugging away at that. And then Cedar City's in October, same thing. They're all great. So what'll happen this year is it'll go Asheville, Cedar City, and then San Diego, and that'll comprise the Triple Crown for 2020. 2021 will look different, but the back half, or the back quarter of this year is going to be filled with some important races for us.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy time, that's for sure. Okay, so I've seen some more people also say, like, is there any general questions you'd like to answer? Like, are there, is registration still open? Is it completely maxed out? Are you going to add more spots to it? Is the wait list still available? I know that's like a common thing that people have been asking with this new date change.
Yeah, so there'll be some people that fall out, and that will open the opportunity for people to register. So we've opened a new registration page for the November event to allow people that hadn't gotten into San Diego to now get into San Diego again. So I suspect once things become a bit more clear as to what is happening at a societal level, and once things start to open back up, then people will, I think, be more inclined to sign up and schedule or orient their calendar around these new race dates.
Well, I know definitely a few people will be stoked to hear that one. Yeah, like I said, I see that everywhere, if there's gonna be more spots available or not. So just to bring it full circle before we wrap this up, like what are your thoughts on this whole current scenario we're going through with this Corona COVID-19 and how it's just kind of escalating so quickly? I don't know, like what through your years of doing what you're doing, like have you ever seen anything like this?
I don't think anyone's seen anything like this, and it would be foolish for anyone to predict where it might go. It could be a lot worse than we know, and what's going to happen to the global economy is going to be devastating no matter what. And I think we're all going to have friends out of jobs. I think 75% of the restaurants will come back, but I think we'll lose 25% of them, maybe more. I think there'll be a lot of businesses that we know and love that have to shutter. There'll be a lot of friends that don't have work, and I think it's going to be a really tough time. And And I don't mean to sound, but I think we should all be prepared for significant challenges. And I think that means we have to look out for each other. It's really disheartening to read nasty emails from people because they're not able to do the race on May 3rd, and they feel they can hide behind the email and send really nasty messages. But that's just not the spirit that any of us should adopt. We should be recognizing that every one of us is going to be affected by this, that none of us are to blame, but there are serious mandates out there that we should be abiding by. And the whole social distancing thing, not congregating, not going to work, not doing group rides is crazy. All of those things we should be doing. We should be sequestered and working together so that this thing doesn't spread like it possibly could. And those are the things that I hope people take seriously.
So adding to that note, like what, obviously you've been, I'm sure super busy with all the behind the scenes stuff with BWR, but, do you have any tips or tricks to tell anyone what you've been doing inside, or, have you been hitting the trainer, you've been riding Zwift, you just riding solo, or, what's kind of like that life change for you?
I admit
How
that I
you been doing
did
over
set
there?
up the wind trainer in the garage this morning, but mostly for my son. I haven't ridden one in since I broke my back a few years ago, and part of the recovery was months sitting on that damn thing in the garage, which is just, I have PTSD from that experience. I've been I just go out and ride on my own. Like Sunday, I rode 100 miles in the rain and kept a steady. I don't have anyone there to ride with. I've got good music. I figure I can either do interval, ride a steady, 22-mile-an-hour pace and just keep that going. And that's a good workout, kind of miserable in the rain. And of course, then you got to work on your bike when you get back. But little adventures like that, I rode this morning and in between rain squalls, and still my bike was completely dirty. So I'm just getting out and riding on my own and getting ready for the perpetual headwind of BWR whenever that race may happen. And occasionally I see other riders out there and chit-chat with them for a bit, and then we go on our way. I think people should still be getting out and riding their bikes, because that's a great escape for all the insanity that's going on. Being healthy, both physically and mentally, is going to be super important as these days turn to weeks and turn to months. We got to stay active.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like hit the nail on the coffin with that one. All right, Michael, appreciate you jumping on the phone real quick to kind of break this down. Is there anything else you'd like to add to it before we jump off?
Well,
and,
what are you doing?
Catch up at another time. I'm sitting in front of my computer right now and going through emails, and just got done with doing a little yoga gym workout inside. And now that it's clear out, I'm going to probably hit a little spin later. But yeah, just trying to be the most productive on the computer with all the different work stuff, and still daily active, sticking to proper nutrition, and just really making the most out of this time as a positive, and not let it turn into a
Good
negative.
answer. Yeah,
it's kind of what I've been doing day by day.
I went by the Rouleur Brewery last night and bought some growlers, and have been buying gift certificates from different places and trying to engage financially with people I want to support. But I will tell you, the 32-ounce growler went down too easy last night. That's the thing I worry about. It's like, oh, well, it's just time to drink, I guess. And
I know.
Oh yeah,
that 5 o'clock gets earlier each time.
I know, it's
too.
like, I'll just self-medicate with a growler.
I know, it's just the beginning too. I feel like it's almost like New Year's time where everyone's all excited at first. They're like, oh, I'm going to have this different lifestyle and be on it. And then, come January 10th, it's just all downhill. But we'll see. We don't know how long this is going to last.
We
That's the
don't.
interesting part.
So let's just stay active and stay positive.
So, yep, I think that's what we knew. I think that's a good way to end it too. Once again, much appreciated, Michael, and I'm sure we're going to do this again shortly because
all right, Horno, drink up. Right now.